All right, we'll call to order the regular school board meeting of the Madison Central School District. It's Monday, April 11th, 5:30 p.m. Mr. Brooks will be recording the members absent and present, and we are all present, which gives us our quorum. Next, if it would stand, we'll say our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, I believe we have no changes to the agenda.
Correct.
So at this point in time, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, Mrs. Kappelman. Second. Second, Mr. Hanemichael. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none. Don't have to call roll or anything. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Next is approval of the consent agenda items 7 through 9. We had 3 sets of minutes, our March 14th regular meeting, and then we had 2 special board meetings, the 25th of March and the 31st of March. Mrs. Schultz, Mr. Hanemichael, and Mr. Avery went through the bills. I think we had, everything was good there. And it takes us down to number 9 then, personnel actions, Mr. Jorgensen.
Resignations. We have a resignation from Joe Bundy as head boys tennis coach that will be effective at the end of the year, contingent upon a replacement. And Amy Model as an elementary paraprofessional that will be effective April 20th, 2022. Request to hire for 21-22 this spring right now, Tara Lessinger as middle school golf coach at level 4, step 0 at $1,718. And then a request for hire for the 22-23 school year, Audra Lynham as high school English teacher at BA for $46,500 to replace Renee Boyd. And then now we'll start having contract changes. So for the 2022-23 contract change, we have Kirsten Johnson, Masters to Masters 15 at $55,253. Joe Bundy to a Masters at $53,005.
Okay. Do we want to break out those personnel actions on the tennis coach, and then that way you do that as a separate one?
Well,
Keith? Or,
Yep.
then Keith could abstain on that. Does that seem to make sense?
Sure.
Okay. So the personnel actions, then would it be everything but Mr. Bundy as resignation, and then we'll handle that as a separate item? So.
So his raise in salary.
And is raising salary also. Okay, very good, Keith. So those 2 items relating to Mr. Bundy, we will withhold and do a separate motion on those.
Okay.
So right now, the motion, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda minus the 2 Bundy items.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Bundy recommends that. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the consent agenda minus the 2 items, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Next then, we'll have a motion to accept the Joe Bundy head tennis coach contingent upon a replacement, and also Mr. Bundy's move to, on the salary schedule, to an MA position. Do I have a motion and a second to that?
So moved.
Mr. Hanemichael, is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Kappelman. Further questions or discussion? We'll just go and ask for an abstention. You want to do a roll call, Mitch?
I think you just call.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
1 abstention. Declare the motion has passed. Next, item number 10, hearing of delegations. I see none. So we'll move next on to administrator's report.
Roofing project will be starting as soon as school gets out. That'll be over the middle school, high school cafeteria. That's the last section until we start over again at some point. And it's probably about a 2-week process, they thought. So the day after they plan to be in here, they may be staging before we're done, but they'll be in right afterwards, get that going. We were notified we have a few places on our sidewalks that we're gonna have to go and repair. Got a notice from the city, so we'll be checking those out. PLEC negotiations, that'll take place on April 19th. I'm in charge of that this year, I guess, so we'll have our PLEC negotiations in a week. Working on filling positions, we've got counselor positions open right now. And then, of course, tomorrow we have the school board and the mayor election that will take place on Tuesday.
Okay. Mr. Brooks, you have anything on administrative? Any board members, anything they wish to share? Hearing none, then it moves us on to item number 12. Consider approval of the PLEC Madison Central School District Agreement.
So what this is, we just are completing the 5th year of our current agreement with Prairie Lakes. Our educational co-op, we do kind of administrative services, their payrolls, all our financials, and then their agendas and that posting. So this will be a new 5-year agreement. You can see listed there on the 3rd page where it lists all of our duties that we perform. The price that we submit to them, it pays back our time that we estimate putting towards this contract, and then rental facilities, and then any incidentals on there. So we made the proposal. We were the only school to propose on it. None of the other schools were, I guess, overly interested, but we've done it for, I don't even know how long, the 12 years I've been here, plus I think quite a few more to this. But so our recommendation would be to approve the agreement. The Prairie Lakes has approved it at their last meeting, and we will just be completing it, signing it, and giving them a copy back.
So the recommendation from the administration is to approve the PLEC Madison Central School District Agreement. Motion and a second, we can have discussion then.
Motion.
Mrs. Schultz.
Second.
Mr. Avery. Further questions or discussions? That seems to be working very well and moving forward. Hearing no other, all in favor of approval of the PLEC Madison Central School District Agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare that is passed. Item number 13 then is approval of our membership into the High School Activities Association.
This is a yearly form we have to fill out, basically, if we want to be eligible for any of the high school activity association, fine arts, athletics. This is a resolution that every school in the state has to pass every year, so we would be eligible for this coming year for the activity association and their events.
So a motion at this time and a second, we can have discussion then.
So moved.
Mrs. Kappeman, second.
Second.
Mr. Hanemichael. Further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of authorizing the membership in the Activities Association for 2022 and 23, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare that as passed. Number 14, consider Prairie Village auction for sale of surplus items.
We just got our notice in from Prairie Auction. It's Saturday, May 7th. And what we do is as we go around the village, there's items we don't use or we're not going to use. They're somewhat selective on what they'll sell at their auction, but if we're able to put it out on auction, it gets a good draw. We seem to get a good price. So we'll start looking for any items that we maybe will surplus. And then we bring it back to you guys after the sale for what we got and what the items were. But if you're okay with us using the auction again for surplusing some items. And we don't always have items. They'll start, the principals and the building maintenance director will start going through looking for what they have to maybe clean up space for.
Works so much better than us trying to conduct our own whatever we would do to get rid of surplus items,
So we
so.
get a lot more eyes on it.
And it also helps Prairie Village.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, I would consider a motion and a second on the Prairie Village auction.
So moved.
Mr. Bundy, is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Schultz. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of considering authorizing Prairie Village is our auction for surplus items, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare approved. Item number 16, proposed change to the 21-22 district calendar. Mr. Jorgensen.
We had 2 days during the year where we didn't have school, however, one of those was e-learning day. So we actually have 1 day that we would need to make up. And what I would propose or recommend is that we leave, assuming nothing happens between now and the end of the year with weather this next week,
Or water lines.
or whatever, yeah, that we leave the last day for students as the 17th, and then the last day for our staff as the 18th. We have some training and some new curriculum coming in we'd like to utilize that day for. But then I would say if we would miss some days moving forward, and this was an e-learning day, then we would make up, let's say we miss 1 more day, I would slide the student day back to the 18th and then the staff to the 19th. I certainly hope that's not something we deal with, but that would be my recommendation on how to handle it moving forward, and leave it at the 17th and staff the 18th. And if we have more days that we have to address, then we would add them on the students.
Okay, so that's a recommendation from the administration on the district calendar. Is there a motion and a second to that effect?
So moved.
Mrs. Schultz, second.
I'll second.
Mr. Hannamichael, further questions and/or discussions on that item? Think it's a good plan? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. How was that for quick? We go to executive session next. Mary Sue, any questions you two have? Or-